Ancient Egypt, a civilization that rose from the sands of the Nile to become one of the greatest empires in history. Today, we're diving deep into the story of how Egypt built a legacy that has fascinated the world for over 5,000 years. From its humble beginnings to the construction of the mighty pyramids, the rise of the Egyptian empire is one of the most fascinating tales in human history. Let's get started. Egypt's story begins with the Nile River. Stretching over 4,000 miles, the Nile was the lifeblood of ancient Egypt. But why? Well, the Nile wasn't just a river, it was a superhighway, a source of food, water, and fertile soil. Every year, the river would flood, leaving behind rich silt that transformed the desert into lush farmland. This dependable cycle allowed early Egyptians to settle, grow crops, and build their communities. From around 5000 BCE, small farming villages began popping up along the Nile, and it wasn't long before these communities started to organize into two distinct regions, Upper Egypt in the south and Lower Egypt in the north. For centuries, Upper and Lower Egypt existed as separate kingdoms, each with their own rulers and culture. But around 3100 BCE, a powerful leader from Upper Egypt named Narmer, also known as Menes, rose to power. Narmer would go on to achieve something incredible. He unified the two lands, creating the first ever Egyptian dynasty. With the double crown of Upper and Lower Egypt on his head, Narmer became Egypt's first true pharaoh, the living embodiment of the gods on earth. This marked the beginning of what we call the early dynastic period. Fast forward a few centuries, and we arrive at the Old Kingdom, the age of the Great Pyramids. Under the rule of powerful pharaohs like Djoser and Khufu, Egypt experienced unprecedented wealth and stability. It was during this time that Egypt's most iconic monuments were built, the pyramids. The Great Pyramid of Giza, built for Pharaoh Khufu, remains one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. But these pyramids weren't just tombs, they were symbols of Egypt's power, built to ensure that the pharaohs could live on forever in the afterlife. After the Old Kingdom fell into chaos, a new era of stability emerged, the Middle Kingdom. This period saw Egypt expanding its borders and growing into a regional power. Pharaohs like Senusret III pushed Egypt's influence further south into Nubia and established trade routes that stretched as far as the Mediterranean and the Middle East. Gypt wasn't just a land of stone monuments, it was a thriving cultural and economic hub that traded gold, papyrus, and precious stones with the rest of the ancient world. Egypt reached the height of its power during the New Kingdom, 1550 to 1070 BCE. This was the age of legendary pharaohs like Hatshepsut, Akhenaten, and Ramses II. Egypt expanded its borders further than ever before, transforming into a true empire that stretched from modern-day Sudan in the south to Syria in the north. Pharaohs like Thutmose III led military campaigns that made Egypt a dominant force in the ancient world. Under Ramses II, Egypt built massive temples like Abu Simbel, displaying their wealth and power for all to see. But it wasn't just about war. The New Kingdom was also a time of great artistic and cultural achievements, with stunning temples, statues, and intricate tombs, like the famous Valley of the Kings. Even the mightiest of empires eventually fall. After centuries of prosperity, Egypt began to weaken due to internal struggles, foreign invasions, and changing trade routes. In 332 BCE, Egypt was conquered by Alexander the Great, marking the end of its ancient dynasties. However, Egypt's influence lived on. Even after it fell to the Greeks and later the Romans, the achievements of the ancient Egyptians, their art, architecture, and their knowledge, continued to inspire the world. From its humble beginnings along the Nile to its transformation into one of the greatest empires the world has ever seen, ancient Egypt's story is one of triumph, innovation, and resilience. Its legacy endures to this day, leaving us with a deeper understanding of what it means to build a civilization that lasts. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss an upload. And let me know in the comments, what part of ancient Egyptian history do you find most fascinating? See you next time.